Have you ever noticed something strange? You work longer than everyone else. You wake up earlier, sleep less, push harder, but you're still stuck in the same place. Meanwhile, you see someone else. They work fewer hours, they look relaxed, and somehow, they keep moving ahead of you. What if I told you that working harder could be the very thing destroying your future? What if all that extra effort is the exact reason some people never succeed? This is the story of a man who nearly lost everything, not because he was lazy, but because he worked too hard. Stick with me until the end, because understanding his story might just save you years of struggle and frustration. Have you ever felt like you're doing more than everyone else, yet somehow you're going nowhere? This is the story of Daniel. Daniel was 32 years old and lived in a quiet farming valley. He owned a small piece of land passed down from his father, and he believed one thing deeply: hard work never lies. Every morning, Daniel woke before the sunrise. While the world slept, he was already moving. He planted seeds by hand, carried water in heavy buckets, and pulled weeds until his fingers were raw and cracked. He refused machines, he refused shortcuts, he refused help. At night, his wife Emma watched him drag himself home, his body aching. She'd say gently, "You're pushing too hard. There must be another way." Daniel would just shake his head and reply, "Success demands sacrifice. If I slow down, I lose." But deep down, something felt wrong. Despite working more than everyone else in the valley, his farm barely survived. Each season ended in stress. The debt grew. His life became smaller. And worst of all, Daniel had no energy left to actually live it. Right next to his land lived another farmer named Michael. Same age, same land size, and he even had fewer resources at the start. But Michael worked only 6 hours a day. He used simple tools, smart systems, and careful planning. While Daniel collapsed, exhausted, Michael spent his evenings resting with his family. And somehow, Michael's crops grew thicker, healthier, and produced almost double. This haunted Daniel. How could this be? Then came the drought. The water disappeared, the fields dried up, and fear spread through the valley.
How?
Daniel responded the only way he knew how, by working even harder. He woke up earlier, carried water from a distant well, trip after grueling trip. Da-da. His body screamed in protest, but he ignored it. Hard work never fails, he whispered to himself like a mantra. Michael, on the other hand, adjusted his system. He used water smarter, channeling it precisely where it was needed most. He lost almost nothing. On the 15th day of the drought, Daniel collapsed. His buckets fell, the precious water soaking into the dry dirt, and Daniel fell with it. Emma found him, barely breathing. The doctor's words were a stark warning. "Your body is breaking down. If this continues, you will not survive." That night, Daniel stared at the ceiling, the weight of his failure pressing down on him. For the first time in his life, he felt utterly defeated. He whispered into the darkness, "I did everything right. Why am I failing?" Emma replied softly, her words cutting through his despair. "Maybe effort alone isn't the answer." That simple sentence stayed with him. Because 3 days later, Daniel did something his pride had never allowed before. He walked over to Michael's farm, took a deep breath, and asked for help. What Michael shared with him wasn't a secret, but a different philosophy. He showed Daniel how to use a simple irrigation system that saved both water and time. He taught him about crop rotation to enrich the soil naturally, reducing the need for constant weeding. He explained how a well-thought-out plan at the beginning of the season was more valuable than 10 hours of frantic labor later. It wasn't about avoiding work. It was about making the work count. Slowly, Daniel began to change. He still worked hard, but now he also worked smart. He learned to use tools, to plan, to ask for advice. The transformation was incredible. His farm didn't just survive. It thrived. His debt shrank. For the first time in years, Daniel had evenings to spend with Emma, not in exhaustion, but in joy. He learned the most important lesson of his life. True success is unmeasured by how much you sweat, but by the results you create. It's not about working harder. It's about working with wisdom. So if you feel like you're stuck on a treadmill, working endlessly with little to show for it, maybe it's time to ask yourself, am I just working hard or am I working smart? When Daniel could walk again, he didn't go to Michael to argue, but to learn. They sat together, looking out over lush green fields. Daniel spoke with a heavy heart. I work twice as much as you, but you always get twice the results. How do you do it? Michael led him to the tool shed and picked up 2 axes. One was dull, the other was razor sharp. He handed the dull axe to Daniel and said, "Swing." Daniel struck the wood again and again, feeling pain shoot up his arms, making little progress. Then Michael took the sharp axe. With just 3 clean strikes, the wood split perfectly in 2. Michael looked at Daniel and said, "One man swings longer, but the other sharpens his tool. The second one always wins." He then shared 3 powerful truths. First, systems beat effort. Good tools and systems work for you, even while you rest. Second, focus beats chaos. It's better to master a few important things than to chase after everything at once. And third, rest is a strategy. A tired mind makes bad decisions. You're not weak, Michael said, you're just untrained in how to think. Hard work without clear direction is just suffering. That evening, Daniel returned home a different man. For the first time in years, he felt a flicker of hope. The very next morning, he changed everything. Started working fewer hours, but spent more time planning. He set up simple systems to automate his tasks, focused on cultivating only his most profitable crops, and dedicated time to learning instead of just rushing through his work. Within a few weeks, something amazing happened. Time returned to him. He started having dinner with his wife Emma again. He laughed. He slept deeply through the night. 6 months later, the harvest came, and it shocked everyone in the village. He had done less work, but had produced far more than ever before. Michael visited, saw the abundant fields, and smiled. Now, he said, you are not just strong, you are smart. This story isn't really about farming, it's about you. If you feel exhausted, overworked, and stuck, ask yourself this one simple question. Are you swinging with a dull axe? Before you decide to just work harder, take a moment to think smarter. Build systems that support you. Focus deeply on what truly matters. And remember to rest intentionally. Stop grinding blindly and start sharpening your tools. Because true success doesn't come from breaking yourself down. It comes from using your mind to its fullest potential. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more content to help you work smarter, not harder. See you in the next video.